Welcome to the final episode in our special series of the Craft Industry Alliance podcast. I'm Abby Glassenberg, the co-founder of Craft Industry Alliance, an online community for craft business owners. And in this limited series of our podcast called Powering the Creative Economy with Spoonflower, we're focusing on artists and makers who have created innovative businesses using Spoonflower, the world's largest custom fabric, wallpaper, and home decor digital marketplace. In today's conversation, we are going behind the scenes at Spoonflower. We're talking with three people who play instrumental roles in making the company run, from branding and marketing to research and development to supervising the team of sewists who create made-to-order products from Spoonflower fabrics. Spoonflower provides on-demand digital printing using an eco-friendly, sustainable, and scalable manufacturing process. They like to say, if you can dream it, we can print it. Let's hear how it's done behind the scenes. Let's start by hearing about Spoonflower's approach to branding and marketing. Okay, so if you can just start by telling us your name and what it is you do at Spoonflower.
My name is Sarah Ward, and I am Senior Vice President of Brand Marketing at Spoonflower. Brand marketing is essentially all of our community-based conversations through social media, our blog, email, influencer marketing, things of that nature.
Okay, and how did you come to work at Spoonflower? I know you've been there for many years at this point, but was there something about this particular company that drew you in?
So the real on how I got to Spoonflower is almost 6 years ago, my doula from when I had my daughter, she still works at Spoonflower. She's in our customer service department. 6 years ago, she said, "Hey, there's this really great opportunity. I know marketing is your thing. And you should take a look because this company really has a lot of great things to offer. And I think it would be really, in your lane and worth your time to look at." And so I looked at it, and the types of communities that so marketing and brand marketing has sort of been my wheelhouse for a long time. And the types of communities and customers that I have worked with and communicated with and supported in the past, demographically look very, very different than the Spoonflower audience. So I worked previously for a men's apparel brand. I also worked for NASCAR. So demographically vastly different. And I saw the Spoonflower community as a place where I could really challenge myself to one, learn about a new type of customer. I was not a DIYer by nature then. I would say I am more so now, and have just an unbelievable amount of respect for those who can have a dream, have a passion, have a visualization, and implement it, whether it be through art or making by hand or by machine for that matter. So, I think I just saw an amazingly just vibrant community that just drew me in, and I just knew that I wanted to be a part of that.
And how do you approach building community among your sellers? So among the people who create, the artists who create surface designs, that upload them to the Spoonflower marketplace, they sell them on the marketplace, they get paid a small commission for each of those sales. But I feel like Spoonflower does such a nice job on cultivating them, educating them, and just bringing them into the fold, making them feel like a part of what's happening.
Yeah. So at Spoonflower, as you can imagine, it truly is our mantra. I mean, makers are undeniably important to us. Artists are the flywheel, right? They're at the very center of what we do. Our platform is where they upload. It's where they, make up to 15% commission on the art that they put forth, and that is a really I feel like we take that role. There's a lot of responsibility in that relationship that we have, and a lot of we value honesty and transparency, and we value being able to find a voice and help them find the platform to really explore their talents and their passions. And so I think it's really important to not only provide a place for proven artists to jump in and get going, or to continue, but also to provide a safe place for folks who want to dabble, or they're not quite sure, or they think they might be onto something but they haven't quite figured it out yet. Helping them find the right tools and the right conversations to engage in, to be able to validate, am I onto something here? Could I market this? Is this sellable? And how do I do it? And what I know is that we're certainly not the experts in surface design. I mean, we have a lot of great ideas, but we learn from our community every day, and we're able to sort of see a more broad picture and be able to put those pieces together for people. And we watch conversations, whether it be through Instagram or Facebook or our Facebook fans group, where questions are being asked, and artists are interacting with other artists, and artists that have a lot of experience versus those who don't. Sometimes the answer comes in places where you least expect it, and I think that's really amazing to watch. And I think that is really at the heart of like that sort of democratization of art, and the fact that anyone can be an artist, anyone can upload anything they want. You could choose to keep it private or make it public for sale, and then you could choose to get feedback on that work as well. And I think for me, that's really the basis of what the Spoonflower platform is.
Yeah, I love that idea that artists are the flywheel, because it's true. And protecting and nurturing those relationships with the artist community is really what is at the heart here, especially people who are brand new, for sure. I think that's so important. And I wonder too, since you are in charge of kind of brand marketing as a whole, it does go beyond that, right? So it also is about helping the average consumer who might not be an artist but wants to buy a product, buy either a sewn product or some yardage to sew their own product, or some wallpaper for their house, helping them to understand, what is this? How could I use it? What is the potential here? So when you're approaching that from a brand marketing perspective, what kinds of things are you doing? Are you coming up with campaigns? What do you explain to people at home who might not know how that even works? What you are working on there?
Because we are, we do have a segment of our revenue that is home decor based, right? That's finished goods based. But as you mentioned, there's fabric and there's wallpaper. Wallpaper might be a little bit more straightforward. Wallpaper certainly continues to have this moment in retail, and if you want wallpaper, it's my opinion that there is no better place to get wallpaper than Spoonflower, because we literally have more than 1 million designs to choose from. So wallpaper and home decor aside, we'll go to fabric. I think fabric is there's a unique opportunity and a challenge with fabric, because it is so hard for us to know what the end use is going to be. And there's so many possibilities with fabric, right? I mean, everything from, handmade gifts for loved ones, whether that be apparel or accessories, or, something as large scale as a quilt, or, and everything in between. So it's really hard to know when, whether it be, petal or minky or sateen, when it goes out the door, we see a fabric with a great design on it that goes out the door, but we don't necessarily, until, perhaps we get tagged on social media, which is our favorite way to see our products come to life. It's hard to know what that fabric is going to be. And so, we do, a lot of, trend research, and just sort of like listening and watching around the marketplace to see, what DIY projects are kind of up and coming or trending. We also, look for, ideas for things that could be implemented into DIY projects that may not be DIY today. But, we do our best through our blog, and using email and social media as vehicles to draw back to just providing a whole plethora of inspiration from, no-sew projects or very easy sew projects to very complicated things like quilts, as I mentioned, but also thinking about projects from a, what's accessible to me, or what's available to me. Like, do I have a swatch of fabric? Do I have a fat quarter of fabric? Do I have a yard or more of fabric? And what can I make, from those pieces? So I think we certainly take, a ton of inspiration from the maker community at large, and the artist community, more broadly. And we find inspiration there every day. And we try to, either showcase those makers or showcase those artists, or come up with a new spin on whatever that project may be, and just constantly challenging ourselves to stay engaged and stay in the know and stay, you know, be grateful for the inspiration, I suppose, that we see every day, and to be able to sort of turn that back out into the community as well, to provide inspiration in turn. The last thing I would say about that is that, we're pretty intentional in the way that we showcase or highlight makers or artists, and we try to be very diligent about providing proper credit and tying back to an artist's page or their shop or their Instagram. Same with makers, makers alike. I really think that, like, creating that full circle of visibility to a consumer who may or may not understand the value of this very unique design that they have in their hand. I mean, some customers come to us from third-party marketplaces. If you happen to be in Etsy or on Amazon, you may scroll and find a Spoonflower fabric, and it is an official Spoonflower fabric. You are buying from Spoonflower, but you miss that whole storyline, right? You're buying a commodity, and so you miss that piece. So whether it be in a note card that goes out in the package, or we're actually working on redesigning our packaging right now, so that when someone does open the box or open the package, it's very clear and very evident that there's an artist out there who's being supported by the decision that they've made to purchase from Spoonflower.
Right. You're bringing them back into that story. So that's great. I love that. Okay. Is there anything else, you really wanted to make sure we touched on?
Just from my perspective, I would just share that I'm just incredibly grateful for the work that I get to do every day. Honestly, I hope that comes through in the interactions that I have. But I love our maker community. I love our artist community. We advocate internally all the time to increase their power and make things better, and just create more dialogue and more conversation. And I'm just super thankful, and I'm thankful for this conversation as well. Thank you for giving us the platform to be able to share our story.
Absolutely. I think that really comes through. So that's wonderful to hear. Well, thank you so much, Sarah.
Thank you, Abby.
Next up, we'll dive into what research and development looks like at Spoonflower. Okay, so can you first start by telling us your name and your title at Spoonflower?
My name is Alyssa McNamara, and I am a project manager for our R&D department within the RTP, or Durham-based factory.
Okay, and for people who might not know, because I know I didn't always understand, what does R&D stand for, and what does that mean?
So the R&D team stands for research and development, and what our primary focus is to consistently improve our product by looking at new machinery or new chemistry or new substrates, so we can constantly be giving our customers the best product that we're able to with the technology that currently exists in the world. So that includes color output, and it includes any kind of new print technology that has been released to the market. And so we spend time researching what's being put out there, going to trade shows, going to demo centers to try and understand the machinery. And then we choose to bring in what makes sense to us as a company.
Okay. And then how did you get interested in this kind of work? Because it's kind of a combination between science and art, really, with a textile focus and a color focus. So what led you to this spot at Spoonflower?
So I am actually one of those unique people that is actually putting into practice what I learned in undergrad. So my background, I went to NC State for undergrad, and I got a double major in, I got a Bachelor of Art and Design with a focus in surface design, and a Bachelor in Science with a focus in textile technology. So I kind of came into the world of Spoonflower with a fondness for both art and design, as well as machinery and how things work and how things are put together. So personally, I've been a part of the Spoonflower family for almost 9 years now, and I've really had the opportunity to see the company ebb and flow and change, and really evolve into this, wonderful place that it is now, all while being able to use my textile background to improve processes within the company. So it's been really exciting for me to see.
And I was visiting Spoonflower a couple of years back, actually, and I got to see the printers, and they're massive. I mean, I think you think of a printer and it's like, okay, it's something that fits on your bookshelf, and maybe, an industrial one would be twice the size or something. No, these are so huge. So could you just tell us a little bit about the current machinery that's being used?
Sure. So when Spoonflower first started, we had smaller printers for the majority of our fabric. And when we got our first high-speed printer about 6 years ago, we actually named it after a spaceship because it did look like a spaceship to us on our floor. It was this giant machinery. We run machinery with 3 different ink types for 3 different groups of substrates. We have our printers that run pigment ink, and that is how we produce our natural fabrics. So our cottons, our linens, our cotton linen blends. And then we have our dye sublimation machinery that runs dye sublimation ink that is transferred onto our synthetic fabrics. So we have some 100% polyesters, some polyspandex blends. And then our third chemistry that we run is latex ink, and we run that through our HP latex printers, and that's how we print all of our paper substrates or our wall art substrates. So we have 3 different wallpaper products that run through that technology. So we kind of have 3 different zones when you think about print type or printer type.
And what about color fastness? Is that something that the R&D department thinks about?
Definitely. We work with our print providers to test and vet new ink chemistries in order to constantly be improving, to be able to give our customers, the most superior product that we're able to produce. But we are unique in that the majority of our fabric is printed using pigment ink technology. And that chemistry is becoming more popular in the world of print because it allows for a faster processing time. Because there's no post-washing, you don't have to send printed fabric through a steaming process. And because of that, we're able to consume less water during the print process. And we're also able to get that fabric to the shipping department sooner so you can have your fabric arrive at your door sooner. So we really love the pigment ink process because of those things. And that pigment ink chemistry is constantly improving as the years go on.
And I know that, one of the goals of an R&D department in most companies is to kind of create things that are going to help that company stay ahead of competitors and be kind of best in class. And so I'm wondering how much you look at other print-on-demand services and say, okay, well, what can we do that's different or faster or, significantly better in some way?
So part of that goes back to product development. I would say the R&D department works really closely with the product development team. And one thing we want to be able to offer our customers is a wide variety of substrates to choose from when they're going onto our site. We want them to be able to find the fabric that they're looking for. So we do look at what other print providers offer in terms of substrates, but we also really look to our customers, and we engage our customers in feedback to see what they feel like might be missing from our lineup, and so we can test those substrates. So part of the R&D role is to vet substrates, make sure that they work on our printers so we can be confident in the product that we're presenting our customers with. So there's a lot of intricacy with that when you are loading fabric onto a printer. There's lots of ways it can fail. So we have to work with our vendors as well to assure that we're getting good quality products so that we can then give good quality products to our customers.
Can you maybe tell us the story of I don't know, something new, whether it was a substrate or something else that, you tried out and then realized it either just wasn't ready or wasn't the right fit for various reasons?
I'm trying to think of specific cases where we've had to work to develop something. I'll give you one example of how something could fail on a pigment printer. So the way that our pigment print process works is you load a core of fabric. So yards of fabric are spooled onto a cardboard tube, and you load that onto the back of the printer, and then you thread it through a series of tensioning bars, and you actually apply it to a belt that has a bit of tack to it. So we apply this glue solution that allows the fabric to just barely stick to the belt so it lays flat, so you can have the print head run back and forth across it. So when you think about fabric construction and you think about a jersey knit, for example, you usually have the edges that roll up a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
And that provides an issue in our print process.
Right.
So we have a cotton spandex jersey that we run on these printers with a glue belt. And we've had to work with our vendors to apply a bit of a gumming on the edges to assure that the fabric lays flat as if it were paper, even though it's not paper, so that it doesn't hit the print heads. Because if the print head hits that fabric, not only would you have a QA fail, but you could also damage the print head, which means you would have to replace it. And print heads are very expensive. So we want to reduce the amount of collisions that you would see when a fabric is not laying flat. So that's an example of something where we've tested a fabric and we have to have this constant communication with our vendor, the mill that's creating the fabric, to assure that it can run smoothly on our printers, because we're not printing on, well, we do print on paper, but fabric does not run through a printer as seamlessly as paper does. And there's a lot of intricacies that you have to look out for when you're testing a new fabric, or maybe a fabric from a new vendor that they might not be aware of.
Can you tell us a little bit about kind of the schedule? Are these printers, I don't know if you know approximately how many you have, and are they running 24 hours a day, and kind of how long does it actually take to print a yard of fabric?
So we have a variety of different printers that print at different speeds. Some of our printers print a yard of fabric in less than a minute, and some of our printers take a little bit longer. We do run almost 24/7, so we have the factory staffed almost nonstop. That doesn't mean that all of our printers are running nonstop. We have the ability to flex up and flex down depending on how much we have in our backlog. But we have 4 printers that handle our wallpaper substrates. I think we have 10 printers that handle our synthetic substrates, and we have 6 printers that run pigment ink that handle our natural substrates.
That's great.
At any point in time, printers are running because we are staffed almost nonstop throughout the week.
And is there anything I didn't ask about that people should know about, or is especially interesting about your job that I don't know to ask?
I think that something that is specifically unique about Spoonflower is that we have really, really strong relationships with our vendors. So we're able to collaborate in maybe we're testing out a new piece of machinery, and we're able to put that machinery through a stress test and be able to communicate with our vendors on what's not working for us or what can be improved. And we have this back and forth where we're able to really produce, a stronger process, as opposed to having silence on the other end. Another thing that we really love is hearing from our customers and hearing what they like and what they want to see at Spoonflower, because we really want to be able to offer you everything that you want. So we love it when we hear feedback from our customers about what they're seeing or things that they're interested in, because part of the beauty of R&D is we get to think about new things for Spoonflower and, kind of ideate on what the future looks like. And maybe there's this amazing thing that we've never thought of that a customer, decides that they would love to see on our site, and we would love to be able to look into those things.
That's great. Thank you so much, Alyssa. This has been perfect.
Thank you.
And finally, let's learn about the custom sewing Spoonflower offers, made from the fabrics you can print. So, can you start just by telling us your name and what you do at Spoonflower?
My name is Anitha Kothandaraman, and I am the sewing operations manager for Spoonflower. And I've been with Spoonflower for quite some time, and we started. We have a home decor division that does all of our small format and the grand format products. Like we offer 14 different kinds of products that we sew here in Durham, North Carolina. So my job is to manage the team of sewists that we have who custom make our products that our customers pick and choose from our website based on the designs that they select.
Right. So Spoonflower is more than just print-on-demand fabric and wallpaper, which lots of people enjoy, especially with fabric, right? You can order yardage, comes to your house, and you can make your own goods with it. But if you aren't so interested in sewing your own items, right, you can use Spoonflower to actually have, as you said, 14 different types of items sewn. So that is really a great opportunity for people who might want to, use these unique fabrics to decorate their homes, to have something different from what everybody else has, but they don't want to have it, custom made. This is almost like semi-custom in a way. So tell us a little bit about what kind of products are possible.
Yeah, we have products in groupings of dining category, bedding, and we also make, living categories where we have our bed sheets, custom-made bed sheets, duvet covers, and we offer tea towels and cocktail napkins, and we also do throw blankets and curtains. So, when you go into our website, you can click into our section to see what all product categories that we offer. So customers can, get very excited about printing their recipes from their grandmas into a tea towel, and they don't want to sew it. We have an in-house team that sews these beautiful custom-made products, and we sew it and we ship it to them.
That's so cool. And these are products that you can have made from designs in the marketplace. So if you aren't a designer yourself, but you see something there that you absolutely love, and there are so many designs, so there's a lot to choose from. Or as you said, you can, scan, upload, and create your own design that's completely unique, which would be like an amazing gift for family members and that kind of thing. So that's super cool. And so you said you oversee the sewing team. So tell us about this team and what does the setup look like? Like how many people are there? Just give us kind of a behind the scenes glimpse of what this looks like at Spoonflower.
Yeah, we have all of our sewists that are from, mostly here in Durham and in around North Carolina. And they are all creators and makers that have, been sewing for hobby, and they come in, and it's a team of about 30 people right now, and we have two shifts that they work through, and we have all of our sewing machines, different types of sewing machines that we use for different products, that requires specialized way to sew and be a lot more efficient with our products. And so all of them are artists in their own right, and it is a team of very creative makers that come and have fun while they sew, and take pride in the work that they put out, and they They just enjoy coming in and sewing the products and looking at the designs that customers select, and yeah.
That's really great. And I'm wondering, are the patterns that you're using, so like these aren't super complicated things, but they do require a pattern to create, a towel or a pillow and that sort of thing. Did you develop those patterns, or how did the sort of pattern that you're training everybody on, how did that pattern get developed?
Yeah, we have a very talented sewist who's our technical supervisor. She has been sewing all her life, Becky Munson, and she develops the training protocols and for our products. She looks at the construction and does a trial sample and understands the product construction, and then starts training our team of supervisors who then later train our sews that come in to work for us.
Okay. That's good to know. Yeah. And one of the nice things too is if you're ordering this product, that it is entirely made and sewn in the US, which I think is really a feature that a lot of consumers are looking for. So that's kind of the people who sewed, this product are right here domestic. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. And how did you learn to sew? I'm just curious a little bit about your own background and skill set. So how did you learn to sew, and what drew you to this job?
I learned to sew just by watching my mom, sew in her hand sewing machine, and I've always had an interest, in watching how a finished product is made. She used to make her own clothing, and in my job currently, I don't sew, but I do. For example, I'm wearing a top that I made. So I do sew for fun at home. I have a limited knowledge in sewing, but I have a team of very skilled and talented people, like our sewists and our supervisors that know the ins and outs of how a product is constructed and what kind of products, what is our quality standards that we ship out to our customers. So an interesting fact about our factory and our sewing machines are also that we name all our sewing machines based after women in history. So that's always that's a fun fact.
Yeah. So tell us what some of the sewing machines are named. That's really cool. I love that idea.
Yeah, we have machines named Rosa Parks, Harriet Tubman, Wangari Maathai, who's a Kenyan sustainability advocate, and we also have Ada Lovelace. We have Venus and Serena, because it's a twin needle machine, so it has two. All sewing machines have one needle, and we have some that have two needles, so we pick Venus and Serena, and the Trung sisters.
I think that's really fun to have them named that way. That's a great little insider detail. Thank you for sharing that with us. So is there anything else about kind of the sewing division at Spoonflower that maybe is interesting or cool that I didn't ask about that would be good for people at home to better understand maybe?
One of the things I think people probably will be surprised about the products that we make also is on demand. So we don't make anything and keep it in-house, so the customers place an order and it gets printed, and we have our printers running 24/7, and once the item is printed, we use a digital cutting machine that cuts the product, and then it comes to the sewing team. So you don't make these and keep it ahead of time, but you actually make it only when a customer places an order.
Can you say something more about this? Is it a digital cutting machine? Is that what you said?
Right. Yes. So we have a digital cutting machine.
So what is that?
It's a huge machine that lays our products, like the products that you print. It comes, you lay it on this machine. We print our uh, we group our products and print them together, and we lay it on the machine. And this machine has overhead cameras that reads our barcode, and it cuts it. If it is a tea towel, for example, the 16 by 24 is our finished size of that product. So it cuts it to the measurement, including our seam allowance for the product. And so it gives us a precise cut. And it also tells us, gives us a mark as to where we need to put our brand tags in. And, so then when a service receives that product, they exactly know that each of this product is cut with precision. And then they take that product and so
That's great. That cuts out a lot of labor and also increases the exactness or perfection of the finished product. So that's really interesting to hear. Cool. Well, thank you so much. I think this has been fascinating, a great glimpse into a part of Spoonflower that maybe people weren't aware of.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Today's episode was powered by Spoonflower and Craft Industry Alliance. Get started making your business dreams a reality with Spoonflower, where you'll find over 1 million designs curated from thousands of artists worldwide. If those creative juices are really flowing, try your hand at uploading your own design and see your vision become a reality. Once it does, connect with fellow business owners for advice and support at craftindustyalliance.org. The audio in today's episode was edited and mixed by Matthew Talesfor at Mixture Films. I'm Abby Glassenberg. If you enjoy this episode, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen. And most importantly, tell your friends. Thank you so much.